the Rand show will once again be packed with entertainment, exhibitions, demonstrations, and lots of free fun activities for the whole family. This is happening at the Expo Centre, Nasrec, until the 10th of April. Now, Simphiwe Ngongwane is out in Nasrec this morning. Let's cross to him and find out what's in store for 2023. Sims, good morning to you. What can the kids and the family expect for the Rand show this year?
A very good morning to you, Lebs, and a warm welcome to the Rand Easter Show in Nasrec in Johannesburg. Well, it is that time of the year when the whole of Johannesburg will settle at Nasrec at the Rand Easter Show, which has been for generations been an iconic event. And it's safe to say that it's one of, if not the biggest, trade show on the continent. And I know that Lebo, you and I do have a story to tell of some sort about Rand Easter Show. And, I've got so much to say when I was still a little kid, being lost around here, cops finding me around, and fighting with my parents, of course, about what to wear. And I would save my new clothes for Rand Easter Show, only for my parents to tell me not to wear whatever I wanted to wear. But there's just so many stories to tell about Rand Easter Show. And more than anything, apart this being a trade show, but it certainly is a kids' wonderland where kids just wander around and have so much fun. Well, the stage will be set today, and I'm going to ask my camera colleague to just give you a glimpse of what to be expected. As you can see on my right, the stage is set, and there'll be quite a number of artists, performing later on from 11 o'clock up until late. We have MXO, we have the likes of Uncle Waffles, who will be giving those who will be attending a taste of what's to come. And of course, on my left, there's different stages being set, and there's different, exhibitions, different companies exhibiting what they will be, showing off to the throngs and multitudes of people who will be coming through to the Rand Easter Show. Now, I'm going to have a conversation just now with Adele Hart-Degen, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Rand Show, to just give us an idea of what to be expected this year. Adele, good. How are you, Adele? Good to see you. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
Indeed, it's an absolute pleasure. I know that this is your second year as CEO of the Rand Easter Show, and having taken over Craig about a couple of years ago. So what changes would you like to see going forward?
So what we started from last year onwards was really to bring the show back to the local is lekker sort of flavor. So we're really focusing very heavily on the SMMEs. We started that from last year already, where we created a dedicated indoor market for our SMMEs, where they can have their goods displayed, their services for a premium rate. So this year we took it even further with having a summit for them, where we trained the SMMEs and really tried to build them up and upskill them so that they can grow their businesses. So this is something that we'll be focusing heavily on for the remainder of the next couple of years for the show. Obviously, we still want to have our visitors have the maximum entertainment, but we also want to bring them stuff that they don't traditionally see in malls. So we want to give the small traders this platform to showcase their products.
And I would imagine multitudes of SMMEs would have loved to partake in this Rand Easter Show. But of course, I would imagine it is limited. So what is the thought process of you having selected which companies to exhibit their wares?
So we go across a variety of products and services, and we have an approach where we go and target certain SMMEs directly, and others we let them come to us. We also work with big brands to sponsor these SMMEs. So in Hall 6, for instance, you'll see a lot of the government departments like a CEDA or a CIFA, where they sponsor a pavilion and then they source the SMMEs. So it goes across anything from homemade goods to crafts to different power products that they display. So it's really a multitude of different companies.
And the Rand Easter Show being a truly iconic South African brand, how does it impact communities and, help so many lives?
So the Rand Show actually helps job creation and our immediate communities in two ways. Obviously, we source a lot of our SMMEs from the rural areas. We've got some township displays. And then also the show, because of the magnitude of people that come through and the services that it takes to put on the show, we actually have a lot of job creation within the services element. So from the catering to the cleaning to the security, we source most of our staff from the immediate communities.
And, it dates back to the early 1900s. Just take us briefly, the history of the Rand Easter Show.
Sure. So the history of the show, it's actually 127 years old. It's the oldest show in Africa. And traditionally it started as an agriculture show where people used to bring through their cattle and their sheep. And it wasn't always at Nasrec. It used to be at the Wits Agricultural Showgrounds. So the show has evolved a lot, along with all of the market trends that we've seen with your take-a-lots coming on board, the guys like your Black Fridays players that are running. So that has changed the show a lot for us to be able to provide more entertainment, but still a platform for businesses to be visible.
Yeah. I know that you took over at the Ham about a couple of years ago, and just take us through the numbers. Are we seeing a decline or an increase in the numbers? I know that it is a household event for so many families here in South Africa, but in terms of the level of interest, what are you seeing?
So last year we actually had a very difficult start-up year because we had to check COVID vaccinations at the gates, and we even had some people vaccinating just to get into the show, so we did our part. But this year, because the show is fully operational and running, we're seeing the same figures as pre-COVID, so our 2019 figures is tracking very nicely. And we're looking this year, our hope is to get above 80,000 visitors at least.
Okay. All right, Adele, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, that was Adele Hartdegen speaking to us live from the Rand Easter show in Nasrec, and just giving us a preview of what's to be expected today and later days to come.